You're watching All To Play For, brought to you by Joe and Coral.
Welcome to All To Play For, brought to you by Joe and Coral and JC, the main JC. It's our Christmas special. Merry Christmas, Joe.
Merry Christmas to you, big man.
We're going to do things a little differently this year. Part one, we're going to delve into footballers' Christmases. And in part two, we're going to pick some of our best bits of 2020 and make some bold predictions for 2021. And Joe, very much in keeping with Christmas, have I got a present and half for you, mate?
Oh, go on, big man. Tease me.
I've got the guest of all guests. He's genuinely one of our favourite people. And I thought, what is really going to tip this scale and make it an amazing Christmas special? So I'm going to unwrap for you, Mr. Carlton Cole. Yeah, boy.
Oh!
Yes, lads.
In the house.
Yes, lads. How you lot doing, man? How you lot doing? I'm so happy to be here. Well, in my house. Yeah.
Good to see you, Carlton.
Yeah, how's everything with you guys?
Good, mate. Good. Yeah, well, we're cracking on, brother. We're cracking on. The Christmas special.
What a treat we're giving the people, Tom. Like, listen, they've settled down, they had their Christmas dinner, that little empty time, do you know, like, and then they just get to listen to the main man, Carlton Cole, just spitting lyrics
Hey, do you know
down
what?
the mic.
Do you know what, lads?
Unbelievable.
I'm not going to lie to you, right? I'm not going to lie. As I've said, I'm not really a Christmas sort of person or into the festivities and all that. But what I've brought out for you today is a one-off, right? I've got the Christmas tree in the background there.
It's a lovely tree.
Yeah.
It's good.
But
Yeah.
But the star at the top's wonky, and guess who put that on?
That's a hell of a tree, though, Carlton.
I know. I can't say that I've done all the decorations, but I put a few balls on there. Do you know what I mean?
How is it now for both of you? Because you, like, obviously when you're playing football, right? Christmas is what happened. Like, I always think that I'll go to West Ham, I'll go and watch whatever. Is Christmas sort of null and void when you're playing? Do you celebrate it properly, or are you sort of like proper, like it's all about the game?
Do you know what, Tom? Like, it is, for me, my missus always says to me, I'm a bit of a Grinch at Christmas, but I think that comes from being a footballer. Like, you just sort of put it to it's just a busy time of year. Like, you have your Christmas dinner, but the day before the game, you're thinking of the game you're playing anyway, and you're getting yourself ready. And I just think we've just been so like brainwashed into just Christmas is a time that we work effectively. The rest of the world, the rest of the country comes and it's great. So, and I've taken that. So I've been retired. I've now two seasons. Yeah. 2 years. And I ain't really got into the festivities properly yet. My missus loves it, and I love it for the kids, obviously. But for me, it's just, I can't get my head around the fact that it's just the time we trained and we played, and that was that. I don't know about you, Coley.
Yeah, no, it's the same with me, to be honest. Like, as Joe said, we're always working in this period. It's really intense. It's an intense period. And, we did used to have like a Christmas meal. We used to probably had a Christmas meal with the family, then we'll have to go to the hotel at the end of that day, and then probably have a Christmas meal with the team as well in the hotel. So it was kind of weird, but look, after my career, I haven't really adapted still to being a festive sort of guy, and I don't think I'll ever will, because it's just not in my DNA anyway. I'm like Scrooge at the dinner table anyway. I just want to eat my food and go upstairs and sleep. Like, because after I've had a bulk of food, I need to sleep. That's just the way I am. Do you know what I mean? I've got the enzymes need to be broken down. So I've never really been a festive. I've never really been a festive sort of guy. Do you know what I mean?
I'm not that, mate. I think that's the best bit. I think when those enzymes are being broken down is the best bit of Christmas Day, man. I just think like hitting that couch and just sleeping for a bit is that's the one of all ones.
Listen, lions, after they catch their prey, they got to lie down. That's how Carlton Cole rolls.
Exactly.
Lie down and let the enzymes just digest.
When an anaconda eats its prey, yeah, it can't move for 2 weeks, geez. It's got to digest it. And then the rest they regurgitate out of their mouth. So
You should start having David Attenborough on here.
Isn't it? The new David Attenborough.
I thought I was about to get into like Christmas parties at football clubs, and now I'm thinking, what other stories could I ask about the sea life? Maybe it's a big part of obviously Like, I mean, you both played. We talk about this, Joe. Like, sort of when you started off, it was probably more of the laddie culture and the sort of like, within football, the sort of, the beer and whatever. And probably you as well, Carlton, probably caught the end of that a bit towards the end, beginning of your career. But one of the most talked about things, especially during both of your careers, were those sort of infamous Christmas parties. Were either of you at West Ham in 2001?
I was.
The Hayden Fox, wasn't it?
Foxy, right? Let me tell you, he tells a great story because he come over from Australia and he was sort of in and around the team, but he weren't really playing. He was loving life in London. He was out and about and all that. And it was a Friday night, and he was out in London. His dad's Soho, and Harry rung him because someone got down injured. He was playing the next day. He's gone to Harry's rung him, and he's answered the phone. He didn't know the number, and Harry's like, Foxy, just ring you. He got, hold on, Gaffer, let me turn the music down in my house. Like I've just been listening to a bit of music. He's run upstairs. He's run upstairs. All right, Gaffer, I've turned the music off now. And then as he's done that, like fire alarms have gone, ambulance has gone by and there's digging in the street. And the Gaffer's gone, Foxy, just get yourself home. You're playing tomorrow. Like, do you know what I mean? He was a man about town, Foxy. He was a great lad.
When you went out on Christmas parties, was it usually people who were like, not necessarily in the first team, who'd be like they'd be out firing and all cylinders. If you were like a proper part of the team, where you got half a mind on the game, and then you've got people who are like, mate, I know I'm not going to get in a team. I'm just going to go absolutely crazy.
Well, that's why I was the life of the party, to be honest.
Oh, were you?
I was spearheading the attack.
My God, I love that.
No, because to be honest, because there's a load of games coming up, so you just want to have a proper blowout before those games come out. Do you know what I mean? Because we don't have at the Christmas party. We'll do it like probably 10, 15 days before Christmas. So you'll have your blowout, and then you just go, and then you get back into the rhythm, and then obviously the Christmas comes. You don't have no time to yourself, so that's why we do it so early and make sure that we've had the blowout beforehand. Otherwise, if you're supposed to get, if it was going to get closer to the date of Christmas, it's not going to work. It just wouldn't work, mate. I'm telling you.
What was the best one you went on, Carlton? Or the one you remember the most?
Oh, the one that the one I remember the most is probably West Ham, obviously, and because all through the season up to that point, I was with Sam Allardyce, right, and I'd been coming in late, so the kitty was very healthy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I ended up paying, my fine money ended up paying for the plane journey, the private jet going over to Dublin, yeah? The nightclubs when we was out there, yeah, and the pubs during the day. So I paid for the whole trip, basically, right? That's why I was in these teams. I was good for morale. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I was good for morale, man. Like, they just do that. The morale be high, and you just take my money. You know what I mean? So that's like, that's what it was. But when we got over to Dublin, all I could remember, I got off the plane and then it was just on. It's like fire circuits, innit? Just bang on it straight away, straight to the hotel, bosh, down to the bar, no wasting time. We've got things planned out already. I just remember, all I could remember from this night is getting escorted back into the hotel. I can't because I think what happened was, and this is the same night that there was a bit of scandal with Andy Carroll that night there when I think he got arrested or something. I don't remember what happened. It's all hearsay to me, to be honest, because I don't remember it. But the only thing I actually remember is when I was wearing a mop on my head, like a real mop, but as a fresh one. But I got it at the back of the pub that we was in. I got it from the kitchen. And I just saw it there, and I just remember, I'm gonna wear this. I'm gonna wear this, and it looked like I was Rude Hullet with the dreadlocks. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, all I needed was a naughty tash, and I'd have been Rude Hullet. Yeah, but so anyway, I put it on, and then the nights got wilder, and then I just remember we had security, and then I just remember just being escorted out of the pub and escorted back into the hotel. That was the main bulk of the night for me, and then I just slept the whole day next day. But the reason why I remember that is because I paid for the whole thing, and I didn't even get to enjoy it.
Jeez, man. Like there's some serious fines that you're getting there.
Tom, mate, let's just not talk about fines, because it's been more than that, mate. Trust me. I'm surprised I ain't paid for the trips to Dubai at the time and the nightclubs. Do you know what I mean?
What was your most memorable one, Joe?
Mate. They evolved. They evolved in early days at West Ham. No, in '98, I remember I just arrived and I'd done it. I think it was there was a Christmas tree incident in Romford Town Centre. Where two of the lads climbed up there. You know, you get like the giant Christmas trees that the council have put up. I can't remember who it was.
I think it was
Trev, mate. Your Razor couldn't get up the tree, mate. The size of him.
Who Trevor Sinclair we talking about? He's climbing up the trees.
Yeah. He got me like the police were involved, and there was complaints and all that. That was actually the first one. I think I was like 17, 18. One of my first nights out was with Razor, and that was like an eye opener because they started like giving me blood. Do you remember that drink, absinthe? Remember that?
Oh my Lord! The green one.
Stuff.
I was
in horrible.
Yeah. I went out in Soho at like 2. I was parked up back on my mum's doorstep. They literally dropped me off there at 6:30, like left me, left me in a crumpled heap. And it was still light outside. That must be my first Christmas. I didn't even get to see the night.
How much did they change, Joe, like in Carlton, from those more sort of debaucherous ones? Like, what were they like, for example, at Chelsea under Mourinho?
They were still like we're still young lads, and you still, it was still good. But you always had mind's eye on not getting in the papers, because at the end of the day, Christmas time, 20-something fellas having a drink, it's going to be messy, and you just don't want to. You just want to have a nice time, enjoy it, have a good night out, but don't get in the papers, because they don't give the manager any reason to get on your back. And I always get thinking, why it's Christmas? You're allowed to have a night. Like you said, Coley said, we're just about to go into a period where it's like a game every 3 or 4 days, really intense, while the rest of the country's drinking. So I always just let us have a night out, give us a squeeze for a night out. And then, there was every year it would be like every year you come in on a Sunday, it'd be like, West Ham been caught at it here, or Spurs, or someone's pictures. But it become military operation as we get older.
One thing that's obviously changed is like when you do go out for a night out, like a Christmas period, like back in the day, there was guaranteed paparazzi. We could have the most secret location for our Christmas party, but the paparazzi always find out. So we always had to always had to go through the back door, like to get out. Do you know what I mean? But the naive ones usually went through the front door, and they're the ones that went into the papers the next day.
There's that picture, Coley, like when you come out of a club and you had a few drinks, but you try to act sober and your eyeballs go like doubly white.
It's true as well.
And you look even worse.
Do you think as well, like, I always think, if you're a mid-table team, you could probably have that better. If you're up challenging, or if you're down in relegation. Carl, when you were there, West Ham player, there must be, and I guess when you were there as well, Joe. But when you're like if you're at mid-table and you've got a bit of stability, be like, you know what, we're not realistically going to challenge for the league. We're not going to get relegated. They must be the ones you're looking at as a player, going, "Oh, you're not going to have it right off. You haven't got any worries."
Do you know what? Do you remember when Leicester won the league a few years ago? And Ranieri, they got to that point. I think they lost the game. And then Ranieri let them go and have a Christmas party, and they went away somewhere, fancy dress. And I think, and then they come back and won like 7 or 8 on the bounce, and I don't think anything bad happened. Like, I had a few drinks and all that, and it looked good. But I just think sometimes they're good for morale, aren't they? Because always something will happen on a Christmas party. Like there'll be a couple of quiet ones who you don't really hear from, and all of a sudden they're breakdancing on the dance floor at like 2 a.m. and then you're buzzing off it, some geezy sign from like Germany or something, and all you've only ever seen him do is protein shakes and press ups in the gym, and then he's doing the worm across the dance floor. He just keeps you giggling for the rest of the season.
Do you know
It's always
what?
the quiet ones. It is never a
Do you know what? One person I didn't have down to doing breakdancing, but I saw with my own eyes with Craig Bellamy.
Oh, really?
My lord, he's a good breakdancer. Oh my
Really?
lord, he does the work.
Yeah?
He could do all of it. He can do the spinning thing. I was like, wow, this geezer is phenomenal. Like, yeah, and I was like, but do you know what it is as well? Like with these Christmas parties, you do get the quiet ones that just become like a machine. So Matthew Upson back in the day, right? He had an alter ego called Frank the Tank. When Frank the Tank was out, mate, oh my lord, you knew he was chugging. And that was, and remember Matthew Upson's, he's got like some crazy eyes. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you look at your eyes, he's got crazy piercing eyes. When his eyes go like that, then you know it's time. It's time to rumble.
You know Frank's out.
So Frank's out, mate. Frank's out in full effect.
Who were the quiet ones at Chelsea, Joe? Because that must have been a strange time, because you had like at Chelsea time, right? You had you two, you had JT, you had Frank, you had quite a sort of base of young English lads. Yeah. But then like you're saying there, Carlton, you know, all of a sudden you've got Carvalho or Ferreira, how do the foreign lads, is that a culture shock for them when they come over here and they're like, this is a Christmas party? And how do they get stuck into that?
I don't think they got the, like, with their Christmas party, I think they're thinking we'd have a nice, sensible meal and have a few crackers and things like that. And I think that's what they were thinking. And then when you sort of like, you start off and you go to the local boozer and like, the tequilas are going round at 1:30 and you're like, they love it though. Trust me, they love it. They're like, I knew I signed in England for suffering all this cold weather all year for some reason. This is good fun. It's definitely a British thing. The foreigners, it's not something, it's an English thing. We've had it in history in our football. And I hope these lads still do it. I'm not sure they do, Coley. What do you think now? I mean...
You say that, Joe, but I remember when I was at Chelsea, right? Remember Del Horno?
Oh, my goodness.
He was a raging bull, wasn't he? Like, mate, I swear down, he could drink any Englishman under the table and then walk home. Really? Sober. Mate, he could drink anybody under the table. And like, so when I saw him, I was like, wow, he actually fits into our philosophy here. Do you know what I mean? He fits into our philosophy. He's not interested in, he doesn't want to go for a meal. He doesn't want to do all of that. He wants to go down the bookies, He wants to go down the bookies and chug a few away, do you know what I mean? And then go... Get home plastered. That's what he wants to do. Do you know what I mean? So I said, he's in with us. He's a great lad. Great lad.
Del Horno, I remember I was going to an Arctic Monkeys concert, and I went with Sean Mark Phillips, and it was after a game, and I don't know, like, he was sitting next to Righty, and I had a spare ticket, and I just went like, Del boy, do you fancy it? Like, and he did not speak a word of English. And like he went, I like it. Like, I'm talking no English at all. We drove all the way down to Bournemouth to watch the Arctic Monkeys. He didn't know who they was. He plotted up at the bar. We went in to watch the concert. I left him at the bar with some Chelsea fans, chatting away. And like he didn't know what I promise you, Tom, he had no more than 5 English words. But he sat chatting to these guys for about 2-3 hours. And then we come and picked him up after the concert, and he was just buzzing. I think he just loved the social so much.
He just loved to crack on. And that was his main thing, just to come here and have a good time. And he did. He had a great time. He was a good player as well. He was a good player. He was a very good player.
How did those bigger names like Didier and all that? Did they get stuck in?
They loved it. Big Didier loved it. Like, do you know what I've said to people about Didier? He is a proper leader. Do you know what I mean? Like, out of all of the lads, he ran our dressing room as much as anyone else. He got the English mentality. He got it, and he got the club, and that's why he's so like loved there, not just by the fans, but everyone behind the scenes, because he just got it, what it was to be playing in England and everything. Like, I love Didier. I think he was such a legend. Yeah,
he bought into our culture. Listen, he didn't go over the top with it. He kept his culture. He liked going out, socialising, do you know what I mean? So he knew what it meant to be English. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what we liked here as well. So I'd always bump into him in the nightclubs, or I'd always if we're all out as a group, we'll always get on the same table, have a few drinks. You know what I mean? But with those guys, like people like Didier, they didn't overdo it. They just doubled their foot in and then went home. Do you know what I mean? With someone like me, I'll go the extra mile. Do you know?
Were you like a legend, Coley? Like on the scene? I'll ask you, Joe.
Boris Johnson. Coley was mayor of London in the noughties, mate. There was no messing about. Listen, he was the mayor of London.
Sadiq Khan has got nothing on me, mate. Sadiq Khan's got nothing on me, mate.
Carlton, when you look now at, like, because you're working with the kids there at West Ham and stuff, do you ever think now where you remember that thing? And I mean, you're such a loved person at West Ham. I think you'd have to look long and hard to look at an ex-player who people love as much as they love you, you know. But do you look at the kids there and you think like, oh, he's gonna get amongst it, or do you think that's gone from the game now?
I wouldn't say it's gone from the game, but I'd say it's more structured now. Do you know what I mean? Like, they'll have their little private parties here and there. Mind you, because my brother goes out a lot, he's like 22, 23, so he's in that catchment area of age, right? So he goes out and he tells me who's been out in the nightclub. He tells me everything, do you know what I mean? And And it is different now because you've got Instagram. So there's a lot of the serious players. They're trying to stay serious and not get involved with it too much. And there's some players that don't really like going out. Do you know what I mean? But the ones that do, I usually hear about them, and they do get into a bit of spot of bother as well. And as it's still well documented. You know, like you see it in the papers, you see it on internet news. That these boys get caught, and they got the one thing that we had an advantage over them. We didn't. They got like camera phones in the nightclubs now. So if you're like sleep, I used to do a lot of sleeping in the nightclubs. To be honest, like I used to drink.
He treated Funky Buddha like a B&B.
I'm telling you. And especially after a game as well. Yeah, I'm knackered. I've just run.
Oh mate,
I've just run 20 kilometres, right? And I'm thinking, do you know what? After this beer, I can have a little nap here, yeah? Don't bother me. And that's why I took a load of boys out with me most of the time, because they'd usually protect me from, do you know what I mean? So imagine that, I'm doing that, and then you got a camera phone, do you know what I mean? And that's going in the papers next day. Like, I'm actually having a quiet sleep. Like, I'm just trying to catch up. Because remember, I'm trying to break down my enzymes. I've just had a meal, yeah?
Your enzymes.
I'm having a drink now, so I just need to chill out a bit. And then, don't worry, last hour, it's a power hour. Do you know what I mean? I'm strong. So,
mate, the enzymes are gone, aren't they?
But imagine trying to do that nowadays with all these camera phones around. Man. You wouldn't be able to do that. You'd just be, you get messed up. So, yeah. So, but I do see around the locker room now. Obviously, I'm with the under-16s at West Ham, and I do see a few Larry lads that would have it at a bar or something like that. But I just don't know if it's feasible for them as much as it was for us.
You're watching All To Play For, brought to you by Joe and Coral.
Right. Who's winning the league this season? Maybe the Toffees can continue their great form. Will the Blues benefit from German firepower? Will it be about a Belgian who can put a ball on a sixpence? How are the champions going to cope without him? Whatever happens, going to be exciting.
No one knows football better than a Coral football better.
Now, do you know the nation's biggest football fan? Coral are on the lookout for the most dedicated fan going. Each month, Alan Shearer picks a winner to receive £1,000 to spend on football experiences of their choice. Head to footballfanoftheyear.co.uk to enter yourself or nominate someone.
You're watching All To Play For, brought to you by Joe and Coral.
Carlton, I'm actually going to say scientist, Carlton Cole, because this enzyme stuff, you're like...
Don't test me.
I'm going to have to Google what enzymes actually are now.
Oh, you don't know what it means, Joe? Oh, my Lord, you don't know what it means?
I've heard of it. I just don't know if we're using it in the right context.
I'm using it in the right context, trust me.
Don't worry, I don't think there'll be too many scientists listening to our podcast who could put some of it.
Enzyme's a great word.
It's one of my favourite go-to words to show a little bit that I got it. You know what I mean? I've got a little bit of sense in my head.
As soon as enzyme slipped out of your mouth, Carlton, I'm like, this guy is a very knowledgeable.
This guy's educated. Yeah. Don't let it fool you, geez. Don't let it fool you.
Guys, we're going to have a little look back at 2020 and the year that has been 2020. I mean, what has been your best moment so far, of football-wise, 2020? What's been your favourite moment?
For me, do you know what the highlight was, Tom? The last few weeks watching fans come back into the stadiums. I was at the Everton-Chelsea game at Goodison Park. And do you know what? It made me a little bit sort of a little bit emotional when you see it. You know, like, because they were showing some as we was doing the game for BT. They were showing pictures of a dad walking with his son to football. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought, and the kid looks so happy, and I thought, do you know what? That's what it's about. So that was the real highlight for me watching that, and so just seeing fans back in, and I'm just hoping we can keep that going and build on that and get more and more in the stadiums.
I mean, I do and I don't, because we've been playing amazingly well, and as soon as we got them back in, we lost 3-1 to United. So I'll stay away as long as we're winning.
But Joe, do you know what as well, yeah? Like, I'd say that's like a great example of what Joe's saying about seeing a son and his dad going to the game. That's what it's about. And mental health is a massive thing right now. It's about that, because what it is, this season and this year has been atrocious. But seeing that again, that just gives you hope and there's light at the end of the tunnel.
I mean, I was just away from football, but even I was watching, I'm sure you both did as well, watch the AJ fight at the weekend, and just seeing it, just hearing the boxing fans there, and just seeing the atmosphere, it's such a big, and I'm a sports fan and have been for years, and I see Carlton, I see you at West Ham quite a bit. It's saying that you miss massively. What I think as well is I was at that Southampton game when we just before lockdown. I see you there, didn't I, Carlton? And
I saw you.
Yeah, and it was. We looked amazing that day. And then literally, such a mad thing to think that we were literally, you're there, you're enjoying it. You sort of, COVID was being talked about. And, we didn't know the sort of size of it and what was going to happen. And I didn't think that I wouldn't be able to go into a football ground for probably another year, maybe 18 months. It's mad, isn't it? Because just for you as well, Carlton, when you talk about talking about mental health, you have, you work with, young men, young football players. Yeah. Did you see there quite a bit of sort of first hand where you're because you're culpable for them, you're sort of assessed, did you notice that had a sort of an effect on them?
Yeah, I saw it first hand, because look, these boys are only young, and I just remember that I never got football taken away from me. When I went to play football, I could go to the games or go to the park, but they wasn't even allowed to play football in the park in a group, so. It was really difficult for them, and we just, as coaches and as staff, we just had to try our best. Even if we're going through something, we have to try our best for these kids, because they're the ones that matter. They're our future at the end of the day. So you got to understand that it was really hard trying to keep them motivated. A lot of people got lost on the way as well. They lost their heads a bit, and they was doing the wrong things, and they come back, they weren't fit enough. And it was hard, but getting them back in the right frame of mind now has been a plus sign. And it's a credit to the staff as well that's been working day to day, even when they was at home, Zoom chats, trying to keep in contact with them, trying to help them through their day, talking to them, trying to keep them on top of their schoolwork. Because some of these kids, they're not from privileged backgrounds. Because they live in a small area, small compact area in their houses or whatever their living situation is. Some of them just got no space in their house. So the best time for them to be out is to go football. Some of these kids, they don't even have gardens. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't even have gardens. So we're doing Zooms and we're trying to do skill sessions on Zoom for them. And they've only got a little small, tiny space to play in. I'm like, so we've got to accommodate for that as well as coaches. Not everybody's got that space. Not everyone's got a garden outside. Do you know what I mean? They got to do it in their room by their bunk bed where they share with two other boys. Do you know what I mean? So it just really opened my eyes. It really opened my eyes onto what people's living situations are. Not everyone is as privileged. And I remember, growing up, it just brought me back to that zone in my head when I was growing up. And then I was living in a block of flats in the estate in Brentford. And like there, imagine me having to not be allowed to go out from there. That's like being in a prison cell. So mental health is just a massive thing in this period. And I just, that's all I wanted to touch on as a low light for me on this period.
Man, no, it was a.
Well said,
I think
mate,
you
well
put it.
said.
I think you said it well, man. I think you everything there, Carlton. I don't think. I reiterate everything you said. I think it's been a tough time, for everyone. But I think, sort of your hearts go out to those with sort of that little bit less, especially coming into Christmas at this time. I think we can joke and we can laugh about us, but we're all in a fortunate position. I think. Certainly my head and my heart go out to anyone who's on their own at this time, or those with that little bit less. But let me try and move it on to something a little bit happier. Your best player in the league at the moment. I was going to say best footballer you've seen this season, but I know that Carlton was buzzing to see me at Soccer Aid. And do you know Carlton was giving me tips on the run-up to it? I think I probably could have done through a few more. I think I needed to come and have a run around with those 16-year-olds.
No, for me, best player this season for me, and I don't like to be biased because it's West Ham, but
my God.
But Souček has been a revelation. Souček has come in, and obviously we had him on loan from last season. The way he's come in, and now he's a West Ham man now. He sometimes when you sign a player and and it's the deal's done, they start going backwards, don't they? They say, all right, I'm happy now. I've done enough. I've got my contract. I'm good. But this geezer's going on from strength to strength. And that's why I think, and he's been a vital component in West Ham's style of play. I'm not just saying that because I'm West Ham, but if anyone was to look, even if they're not West Ham, if they was to look at a signing of the season so far, I think Souček will be right up there. So he's been my best player to pick. But obviously the best player in the Premier League at the moment is none other than either Mane or Kevin De Bruyne for me, So those are your givens. But I'm just saying a surprising factor would be Souček for me.
Do you know who really excites me? And he plays a lot like Cole in his younger days, Calvert-Lewin. I really like him, mate. I really, really like him.
Do you know what? Do you know what, Joe? It's funny you should say that. So my cousin Sar, he said, he goes, Carlton, you got to watch this boy. He reminds me of you when you were younger, like in your younger days, like the way you're kind of awkward, lumbersome, and then you'd like kind of just put arms and elbows everywhere, and got a bit of skill, can edit, you know what I mean? And he said that you remind me of him. I was like, okay, let me sit down and take him in a little bit better than I have already. And I understand what you're saying. So you just said it just there, and I thought I was the only one, and my cousin that thought I played like him.
He does, mate. He does, and he's added it. He's brought it all together. He's brought it all together this year. And what I like about him now is that he's threatening the goal all the time. He looks hungry. He looks hungry for goals. Then he's like he's always getting across the front man. And I still think there's more to come. And I think as well, I'm looking at him as an England player. And I'm thinking, right, Harry Kane's your number 9. I'm thinking, say for instance, you've got a nice control of the game and you're chasing the game, whatever. And you've got Trent and Reece James from one side throwing the ball in. You could have Jack Grealish. Like, imagine them two getting across Harry Kane and Calvert-Lewin attacking ball in like just an old-fashioned 4-4-2. I'm thinking, that looks quite dangerous, that. Yeah, he's emerged for me. I like him.
I'll go Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane this year has just changed his game up for Tottenham. And like a lot was said about Mourinho, and I got some stick recently because I said about I think it was when he played Man City. I thought it was just a perfect game. I think he looks incredible, and I think for me, just him because weirdly you say about him them up front together, you think Kane now seems to be dropping back enough. He sometimes feels like a number 10, and actually Calvert-Lewin could be playing off it. I look at the two of them. So for me, I think I'll go. Harry Kane.
Harry Kane's done really, really well because I'd say, like, it's not easy adapting your game like the way he has. Because you got to understand, Mourinho likes to play a counter-attacking football, Yeah. And I was like, is that going to suit Harry? Because he's not bags of pace, is he? So he can run, but he ain't as quick as some of them boys out there at the moment. Do you know what I mean? So What he has done, he's getting the ball like a midfield, like a 10 now. He's feeding balls in, like he's the one he's the provider now. And his passing of the ball is like a proper midfield. Gerrard would be happy with some of his passing. You're right, he's up there definitely with player of the season so far. Obviously, Son's the other one as well.
Son looks great, doesn't he?
He's an amazing player, amazing talent. But Harry Kane's definitely up there too.
Let's look at predictions. We're talking about players, but let's look at prediction-wise. How do you both think England are going to fare coming into the summer?
That one there. Listen, England are a good team, but it's definitely up to Gareth Southgate. Gareth Southgate, if he can get them playing together in the right manner, they'll be fine because they've got the pedigree, they've got the players. It's just about getting the right blend now. And obviously there was the conundrum of Grealish, putting him in, should I not put him in? And now he's shown that he can play in that team. So yeah. I always used to think that Grealish, because he's such a talent, one of the best talents around, I thought you had to build a team around him. But he's actually shown now that that he can actually fit into your system if you want to play that way. Do you know what I mean? So you can actually fit him into your system now, and he's proved it now, and it's only going to bode well for England, I think.
So where do you think they'll finish? Where do you think England? Let's go England first. Where do we think?
I think they'll be definitely up there. Quarterfinals or probably finals. Hopefully, do you know what I mean? Semis.
What are we thinking, JC?
I think it's our time, Tom. I really do.
I'm with you.
I spoke to Gareth the other day, and I just think it is. I just think there's so many factors that are going in place. Like, even to the fact that this is a delayed tournament. Do you realise we would have had to play the tournament without Rashford and Kane this time last year in any time performance?
Yeah.
The fact we've had another year. You've got another year for like Grealish to simmer, Mount to develop,
Declan,
Foden to develop, Declan Rice to come into the equation. Reece James is now an established player.
Yeah.
Like, all of these players, and I feel like Gareth's the right man. All of them, Tom. Like, he's the right man at the right time, and I'm so excited. I've never been excited as much excited for a tournament as this one. I think it's going to be amazing. I'm hoping that we're in a better situation with fans, but I'm so excited. And Jack Grealish, mate. I actually love the kid. The biggest thing for me is if he's on telly, I want to watch him. He's just class, absolute class.
Yeah, he's different gravy, the kid.
I remember we came up to play. I think we went to play. Yeah, it was Aston Villa. I think you was there, Joe, at the time. West Ham. We came up to play, and we spoke to you. I think it was me and Nobes, and you was just saying this kid is unbelievable, like, and I hadn't seen it before, like, because he was really young at the time coming in. He was just I think it was breaking season. You was properly into him. You was thinking this guy's gonna go places, and that's rich coming from you. Do you know what I mean? That's massive coming from you. And you was a bagsman, you was a skill man. So coming from you, I was like, wow, this kid must be good. You know what I mean? This kid must be good. So I'm just happy to see what you said come into fruition now. It's really been enlightening. I've
been banging a drum for him for ages. The only thing I said was he's 25 now, and he just made his first competitive start for England. I think that's too long, and I just think that's the previous managers he's had at Villa. I don't think or the club brand haven't allowed him to flourish quick enough. But let's not worry about that. He's here now. Let's use him. Let's get him in the team and let's use him because he's built for international football.
The only other problem I've got with the England team is probably the defence.
Yeah, I think centre-backs is
centre-backs is a massive issue. Massive issue. Yeah. And I think at the higher you go up and the better teams you play, we're going to have to score more than the opposing team, basically. Yeah. Because we've got goals, no doubt, but we're going to have to score more than the opposing team.
I think one of the only positives I'd say would be, I think last couple of games, maybe with West Brom, I thought John Stones has looked like he's sort of come back a bit to play. And I was genuinely hoping that Kyle Walker this season might be out because we've got so much, like you were saying, Reece James, Trent obviously is incredible. Whether Kyle could make that move sort of slightly centre would be saying that.
He'll be all right in the free. He'll be all right in the free.
Yeah, in the free will be good.
So,
but then
so will Reece James. Reece James could do that job.
Yeah.
Reece James, I think.
And Aaron Cresswell on the left.
No, he could. Reece James could go like right-sided centre back and a free, and then you got Trent to go on the right. Do you know what I mean?
I'm going to end it on England here, Carlton. But you talk about people who've had a brilliant set, and this is me showing a bit of bias, and I will wrap it up on this. I genuinely look at Cresswell, right? And that, where he left back at the other day.
He's done brilliant,
He's been incredible. But actually, the rate of his assists, like his goal scoring chances he's creating, and he's played left. He's played more of a sort of left back role in the last couple of games. But he's been playing like left centre back. He's been unreal this year for me.
In that position, he's actually made more than he has playing that left wing back.
Yeah, but so
really.
If you had a really strong,
more.
if you could have Carl or Reece James and Cresswell, I'd love to see Aaron Cresswell get that, man.
Yeah, right. I would as well.
That's one prediction. So we're saying we've got two people saying we're going to win. Carlton saying quarterfinals. I'm going to make you wrong there. And so
quarter semi.
Right, he's changing it. Right. So let's end on these final predictions. Right. So this is going to go Premier League winner. Who's going to win the Premier League this season?
Hey. Do you know what? Yeah, that one there, it's a massive one because I did say at the start of the season, I said Man City. They're only just turning up to the party now, do you know? and they're not even fully in the door yet, so I'm not really sure about that. And now I've got to change that and replace it with Spurs, although it hurts for me to say.
There's a lot of hurt in this saying that. A lot of hurt in this podcast saying that.
It's hurting me, man. It's hurting me. Mourinho's tactics worked, and it just shows you how good that guy is. Do you know what I mean? It just shows you how good. As long as the club doesn't mind bending to his rules, he'll always be a success anywhere he goes because that's just the way he is. And so I'm gonna say it's a tight one between Liverpool and Spurs, but because of I know that Liverpool have definitely got the know-how to win, and they've shown the bollocks, last season as well, and the championship, and when they won the Champions League. I reckon they're the ones that are going to win the league this year. I think Spurs will come close, but I don't think they'll win it.
JC?
Mate, Liverpool. I think Liverpool will win it. I think the performance against Spurs in that situation when and over the last few weeks where they've had so many injuries, so many knocks, and they've still been resilient. They still got there. I just think they've got enough quality. Two best attacking players, Mane and Salah, in the league. I can't see past Liverpool. I think Tottenham will push them close. I really do. That would be heartbreaking if Spurs finally done it. Sorry for Spurs fans.
I love Spurs, but I can't. I'm sorry, I love Spurs. I hate Spurs, obviously. I can't say Spurs.
What was that? That's blasphemy,
mate. I can't say Spurs. Do you know what? I'm gonna put it out there, right? I'm gonna put it out there, and this might get shot down. I've got a weird sneaking suspicion. I said this early on to you, JC. I think someone someone out of the blue is going to do it. And when I say blue, Everton. I think that if they start mate,
big man.
Goals got. Mate, you watch Ancelotti. I've just got a sneaking suspicion.
Nah, I can't see that. If you was going to say another blue colour, I'd say Leicester.
And it'll be just Carlton Cole going, nah.
You sound like Nostradamus, mate. Nostradamus, remember? He predicted everything.
Mate, I don't know what you're going off on that one. I know they'll make top five, top
I've
six,
got a feeling.
but...
Calvert-Lewin, mate, scoring goals. I just got a sneaking suspicion. I think someone weird's going to be in. It's 66-1 with Coral, by the way, guys. 66-1 with Coral.
Mate, you should drop that in. See that? A little bit of marketing. That's unbelievable.
I love that. That's why you're professional, and that's why you're in this job, Geeks.
That's why I am, because I know when to drop those odds. Gentlemen, Mr. Carlton Cole, Mr. Joe Cole, my two favourite Coles in the world. Listen, it's been a joy. Thank you very much. As always, JC, CC, a very, very Merry Christmas to you both. Big
Same
love.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
For the three Grinches.
Wait, I'm no Grinch.
No. I've got my Christmas tree in the back, please. I've got decorations.
Yeah, JC's not even got decorations up yet.
He ain't got no decorations up,
Listen, I have. Listen, let me show you something now. I'll tell you what my computer's been balanced on the whole time. It's nothing more festive than that. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you very much for listening.
Man.
A very Merry Christmas to you. You've been listening to All to Play For, brought to you by Joe and Coral. All the best.
You've been watching All to Play For, brought to you by Joe and Coral.